Welcome in. And this is our first, we've done these for a long time, but this is the first one of the new branded Redsox Country Radio with the Sarge, Sergeant Timus Wooten. Sarge, how the hell are you, sir?
I am good. I'm ready to talk some baseball, ready to watch some baseball, and be really nice if Ohio would let the sun out once in a while.
Well, we're getting the same thing down here in Florida. It's man, it is rain city. I thought we were clearing up today, but it just before I went on, of course, it started raining, which freaks my dogs. So I was like, sorry, dude, but I gotta leave you. Good luck.
Rain's not our problem. That snow is still a problem.
Daddy, it's raining. That sounds like a you problem. I'm out of here. I gotta go talk baseball. Oh man, we got a lot to get into, a little time to do it, so let's go ahead and jump in. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to do an AL East and Red Sox preview for 2024, and then we're going to talk about the American League, make some predictions, all that kind of jazz. And I think the best way to start off with this is immediately with the Red Sox and talk about some of the things that you wanted to get into. One of them being the state of the Red Sox, essentially the ownership and what direction are they going in? Because I got some thoughts, some stuff that I've been listening to around the way, but I want to get your take on it. Where do you think the Red Sox are? Because this, once again, is yet another offseason where they didn't do a whole hell of a lot, not from the standards of what the Red Sox fans are accustomed to seeing.
Yeah, it's a very good question, and it's not one that the fans have been given an answer to. They tell us, yes, we're going big and all this, and then, nothing happens. What I think is happening this season, it's a bridge year. Now, again, that's not what we were told.
No, because remember the off season, what was the term that they used? It was something like going all in or something. What?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what he said. It just annoys me every time I hear it, so I kind of blocked it out of my brain. But they were going to go big or something. But
yeah, it was something to that effect. I can't remember the exact words, but it was something to the effect that made the fans feel like that they would have been in on a Blake Snell, that they would have been in on a Juan Soto type of trade, that they would have done any of these moves that would have brought in some kind of a star. Instead, what they did was they traded away their best pitcher to the Atlanta Braves. Now, they got a good piece. I know he's going to start off on the IL, but I'm telling you right now as a Braves fan, Vaughn Grissom, you're going to love him. I don't know about his defense, because they tried to put a round peg in a square hole. They tried to get Vaughn Grissom to play shortstop last year. He is traditionally came up as a second baseman, was never known as a great second baseman, but a solid second base choice. But Ozzie Albies ain't going anywhere. So they tried to put him over there. Then there was talks about this offseason trying to get him to go over into left field because it was a spot that they could have used a left fielder. Instead, they traded him to Boston. I think it's the best move for him to get a new start. He should be able to have the opportunity to be the everyday second baseman. If it falls off, I do think he's athletic enough to play in left field. That's the place you put someone when you can't figure out what to do with them.
Sure.
But the kid's got a stick, man. And I'll tell you right now, it's a live stick. And I'm in some deep dynasty leagues, and I've got pieces of or shares of Vaughn Grissom because I think he's going to be an elite type of hitter. I think what you can expect from Vaughn Grissom when he's fully developed. So it may not happen this year, but maybe by next year. I think he's a guy that he's going to rake around the 300 mark. Nowadays, it seems like it's much more difficult to get to the 300 mark, but around the 300 mark. I think you're going to have an OPS around 800. I think you're going to have a guy who has around 25 bombs, and I think his speed is there too. We've seen it in pieces when he would come up with the Braves, but he never got a chance to play a full season. I mean, I think you're talking about a guy that might be able to get 20, 25, and with these rules, maybe even more than 25 stolen bases.
My question is does he stay healthy? Is he able to play games, or is he an Aaron
He's
Judge?
never had a big issue. This was the first time I can remember him. He was always the guy they went and got because somebody else was injured.
I see. Good. And this is a groin injury, right? It's not a tear or anything. It's just
no, it was just a groin strain. From my understanding, they're expecting him to be available by early April. So
right. That's what I heard. These groin injuries, though, you have to let them heal. Otherwise, it's so easy, and it takes, you know. I'm excited. I mean, once you called me and told me about this guy, I was like, all right, let's do it. And it moved.
And
Trevor.
it doesn't hurt the fact that he's got $1 million smile, and he's very likable. When he was with the big team, they all instantly loved him. He was even doing things like, you know how these pregame shows will do goofy things and give players the mic. He was the one hosting, interviewing guys like Michael Harris and whatnot. So he's a very engaging kid. From everything that I've ever read and seen with my own eyes, everybody loved him.
A lot of people, a lot of the analysts and everything said he's going to be very comfortable in Boston, which they can't really say about every player. Let me call Crawford. And they said, you know, he brings that kind of lunch pail fun to work kind of vibe. He's big in the clubhouse. These are all the things I've heard. And, you know, that'll fit right in Boston. So,
yeah, I honestly, considering where Boston was, I think it's the best case scenario that Boston ended up getting Vaughn Grissom. I know they had to pay the freight of this year's salary for Chris Sale, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're talking about a team that was going to go ahead and rebuild anyways, getting a Vaughn Grissom to me is huge. I hated to see him go, but I made peace with it about last year because I'm like, where is he going to go? If he can't play shortstop, Ozzie Albies isn't going anywhere for the next 3 or 4 years until he becomes a free agent. We're not going to be able to afford him, right? So where the hell are you going to do with him? So I'm glad he went somewhere that I don't despise. I was always worried he was going to go become a Philly or, you know, a Met or whatever. And instead he ends up in Boston, and I hope they lock him up long-term so I don't have to see him wear a damn Phillies or Dodgers jersey. So that's my take on it.
And you know what I'm very excited about, if he's the player you say he is and that other analysts have said he is, it's been a revolving door at second base since Dustin retired, you know, and we've had 5 second basemen since Pedroia retired. It would be nice to have some stability on that side. Trevor Story's playing the shortstop side now.
Which, by the way, I expect Trevor Story to have a bounce back year. I think he's going to be solid this year. I'll still always say that they overpaid for him at free agency, right? That original deal that he signed. But I think this year you're going to see signs of what Trevor Story should have been all along.
Right. Well, a lot of fans got all over him, but, you know, he came in, he had elbow trouble, then he had surgery, and then they rushed him back, and all of this business. They had him switch positions, all this craziness. But I heard him in an interview the other day say, you know, I've got a lot to prove, not only to myself, but to the fans of Boston. They paid me the money, and they haven't seen what I can do yet. He goes, I've been injured.
Look at the bright side. He's got a really low floor. He hit 3 home runs last year. Right. Yeah. So he's not being asked to go out and be the next Ted Williams, right?
No, but this is the first season since he signed with us that he's going to get a full off season and spring training, injury free. He doesn't, you know, he's had the surgeries, everything's recovered. He's like, this is the first time I'm actually going to be able to be myself, you know, as far as hitting. I'm comfortable in the box again. I don't have to worry about every time I throw the ball that my elbow is going to snap out of my skin, you know. So I think he might be the comeback player of the year. he has that potential.
Yeah, I don't know if I would go that far, but then again, it's because you don't see it as much from aging veterans. But if there's ever a guy who's lined up to do it, considering how bad he's been the last couple of years, I mean, it's sitting right there for him. I was looking up real quick because I'm curious where he is. So he is all right. He's got this year and next year, and then he's got an opt out for 26, which I don't see him doing.
No, I don't know.
Even if he has a really good year this year and a good year next year, you're well, I'll put it this way. You're a full-blown moron if you opt out at age 33 with his injury history, hoping you're going to get $25 million over the next 2 years to make up for your opt-out. So it looks like, for all intents and purposes, he'll be there till 2027.
I would be pretty shocked. It would take a team with a ridiculously rich and stupid owner who, like, we need a shortstop tomorrow, so let's just go get the guy. But I don't know. Like you said, there's a lot of stars would have to align for him to get the big payday. But and he's happy in Boston. You know, his family loves living there and everything. So now I'll just need him to play and hit.
Yeah, and if you can get good production out of Story and out of Vaughn Grissom up the middle, and then center field most likely is going to be Jarren Duran in some version of the kid that you and I have talked about off of air, Rafaela. I don't know how to pronounce his first name, so I do apologize. I think it's Sedanye, but I could be wrong. But Rafaela, who's being projected as an outfielder, but it sounds like he's going to cover the infield for the absence of Vaughn Grissom early on. I'm excited to watch this kid play. I watched him in the Futures game. I watched him in a couple other games this spring, and he impresses me. His size doesn't. Obviously, you know, he's 5'9", 165. Makes you wonder what can he put up with the grueling 162 game season. But man, the ball flies off his bat. He's got athletic ability, and if they can get him to a point where almost like a super utility role this year is what I'm thinking of for Rafaela, because you want to make sure that the kid continues to get at bats, right?
Right. And Cora loves his utility players because Cora was a utility player, or what they call a super utility player, which I don't know if there's a difference really, but
well, super utility would be something that Cora wasn't, which means you could put him in the outfield and not lose anything. If you put Alex Cora in the outfield in his heyday, you're stretching it a little bit. Like, he was up the middle guy, right?
Yeah. He was an infield player.
Right.
Trying to remember.
I do know a few times where Cora was out in left field, but I mean, that was panic mode type of stuff, right?
Yeah, that's probably when Manny was
Rafaela is considered a super utility because you can put him anywhere. You can put him in center. You can put him at a second, obviously, because that's where they're going to put him. And from my understanding, he can play short. And if you can play center, you can play anywhere in the outfield. You may not be as great in others' positions, but you can go anywhere. So with that, and then the addition of Tyler O'Neill, who I expect to have a good season, I think his biggest problem in the entire time he was in St. Louis is that the entire time that he was with the Redbirds, Tyler O'Neill was one of 4 outfielders that didn't get regular at bats. And there's sometimes there's a thing to be said for having too much depth, because baseball, we know, is an everyday sport, right? If you're not playing somewhere around 140 to 150 games a year, you tend to have bad years offensively because you lose your timing. Well,
right. It's skill swinging
right.
a bat, and it's hard enough to make it to the majors, let alone get there and be asked to sit for who knows, 4 days, 8 days, and then go out there and expect to perform at your optimal levels. I mean, because you have to have eye-hand coordination like Ted Williams to be able to do that successfully,
Right. So I like the idea of probably having Tyler O'Neill in left, Duran in center. I guess Yoshida will go back to right, or will he DH?
He's gonna DH. Let's hope. That's the rumor that he's gonna. Here's the Sox problem. You just talked about the Cardinals.
Who's going in right? It's not O'Neill, is it?
Well, it's still up for discussion, I think. But we have a bunch of designated hitters they keep trying to place in positions. And they just keep signing these guys, We're good on the DH. We could put 4 guys as our permanent DH easily. And if not, we'll just stick him in first base. It's
well, then, okay. So then riddle me this: if Yoshida is the designated hitter, what is the plan for Dahlbach? Because Tristan Casas is supposed to be the first baseman,
right? And Bobby Bobby Dahlbach. God, has there ever been? Yes, there has been. So I shouldn't say that, but he's one of those that he goes down to AAA and is like Babe Ruth, but at the majors, he's just, I don't know, man. Do I think Bobby's going to spend some time in the majors this season? Maybe not. I don't know.
As of right now, he's on their active roster, but of course, everything's not finalized till Thursday.
Maybe
I'm just curious, like what is okay? So Devers, I would say, is going to continue to play third.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, there's no defensive problems there with him, right?
Oh, you're serious?
No, I don't follow the Red Sox nearly as much as I follow it offensively through fantasy.
Defense.
He's a problem.
He had a better season, which he had one way to go. And then last season, it kind of got the yips again. And I don't know how many errors he made last year. I'm pretty sure I saw all of them. He has to work on. There needs to be a steady climb on an improvement on his defense.
Okay.
I don't like that.
So just filling out the line. If you got him at third, Story at short, Rafaela / Grissom at second, Casas at first. In your outfield, I feel like you're going to have to. Tyler O'Neill is not a right fielder, and I mean, I guess I could force him to, but he's not a right fielder. He's a left fielder, and he's not a very good one at that because he's just he's literally the dude that lifts so many weights that he can't move. You know what I mean? Like, like you don't necessarily want to run into him in a dark alley, but if you do, you like your chances because he's probably going to miss. He's all freaking robot boy. But Yoshida's not a good option for right field.
No.
So Duran's got to be center. I mean, what are we talking about? Abreu? Is Abreu
I've heard that as well. I'm not sure.
He had 76 at bats last year. Man, that's going to be a disaster. I guess in theory, what would happen is that once Grissom's healthy, you could put Rafael over in right field. And from my understanding, he can play right field well because he can play pretty much everywhere well. So if that's the case, you could put him in right field. Maybe he's the next Mookie Betts, right? I mean, I have heard those comparisons because
you've heard him compared to Mookie Betts?
Yes. Not just because of his bat, but the fact that he can play center field. He's going to move down to play second. They've talked about that he's a very good possibility to play right once Grissom comes back. And I mean, he's got that small frame. It's a tall ask for anyone to be Mookie Betts, right?
And I'm going to need you to stop saying Mookie Betts' name for a while.
I'm just telling you that these are the comparisons that I've heard from scouts. Okay. I'm not saying that I'm comparing them, but it makes your antenna go up and you go, wait, what?
I mean, if he's being spoken in the same sentence as Mookie Betts, that's not nothing.
I'm not saying that he is Mookie Betts, but it's very much of the way that when Freddie Freeman was coming up for the Braves and people talked about what kind of hitter is he going to be, and everyone kept referring to, they didn't play the same position, but they kept referring to Chipper Jones.
Yeah. I mean,
and I remember going, yeah, right. And then
a lot cooler.
Several years of world championship and $160 million contract later to leave to go to Los Angeles. I'm like, you know what? He's probably pretty good. And I remember when Acuna came up. Okay. I remember Chipper Jones comparing him to possibly the most talented outfielder to ever play for the Braves. Hank Aaron played for the Braves. And I remember going, what? And now I see it for myself and I go,
he's fine.
All right. I can see it now. But at the time I was like, shut your mouth, Willis. You know?
Yeah. I mean, because Andrew was pretty good out there.
and Andrew deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, by the way. But yes.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. He was 19 bombs in the World Series, man.
That reminds me, for folks who aren't catching this until opening day, if you want to be a part of the country club, which means you're going to get first access to Red Sox country radio, Braves country radio, where you got Reds country radio now. We got more stuff coming for the fall for football. You will get first access to it. You'll get to see the shows earlier. There's other perks that you get as well. And one of the things you'll get is access to the type of videos we already have up in the Braves country radio heading. If you're not a Braves fan, don't let that scare you away. We're doing more than just Braves, but we've got a couple of things that are up there right now that if you remember, you can see. One thing is called lineup for Braves country. Obviously that's more for Braves fans. There's another piece that we put together called Where Singles Go to Die. It talks about Andrew Jones. And then there's one across the board called Opening Day, and it's a poem about opening day. The only way you can get it before it drops on opening day, all this stuff, become a country club member. All you gotta do is join. It's 10 cents a day. And consider today's economy, that's nothing. Back when Sally Struthers used to ask for 10 cents a day from you, that could hurt a little bit. 10 cents a day now, man. I mean, come on. Anyways, so back to the rest of the story. So if you look at, by the way, I think Tristan Cassis is going to have a hell of a year. I can't get enough shares of him in fantasy baseball right now.
You know what? I think, well, depending on where he is in the lineup, it's not out of the equation. This guy could put up 30 bombs this year.
I think that's his floor.
I
really do.
I don't know. It's hard to hit 30.
He had 24 home runs in 132 games in 2023.
Yeah.
His floor, to me, if he's healthy, is 30 home runs.
But
he could be 35, 40 by the end of the year.
Pitchers figure this crap out. Eventually, he's young. He's got holes. They're going to find major league pitchers are going to study this kid, and they're going to find those holes, and they're going to exploit them because that's what they're paid to do.
Let me tell you something. If Marcell Ozuna can hit 40, this kid can hit 30. You talk about holes in a swing, but you better not miss that hole, because if you do, boom, it's gone. So I'm just saying, look, Tristan Cassis, was he 24? Is that what he? Yeah, 24 years old.
Yeah, he's a kid.
I've become a big fan of a couple of guys on the Red Sox. You know that I don't watch a lot of Red Sox baseball. I watch it when I can, but I'm constantly doing the games for the Braves. But if there's three guys that I'm going to come to the run to the television this year to see, and I'm not going to count Rafaela because I got to make sure that he's going to stay up, right? But I'm definitely intrigued by Rafaela. But the three guys for me are Tristan Casas, Jaron Duran, who I think is floor. He's a 2020 guy. I think he's going to get 20 home runs, 20 steals. I think he probably gets more than 20 steals. I think it's 25 to 30 steals, right? And then the third guy is the guy that just got the extension, Brian Bayo. Brian Bayo, to me, can be an ace, a true ace. I know he's the number one this year, but I'm talking about he could be an ace of a staff.
I don't know, man. I know the Red Sox are forcing that on him. I do feel it's forced. I think it's too soon. And I mean, you could take a dart, close your eyes, throw it at the pitching staff, and you would hit pitchers with upsides. Do I think, and Pedro, I listened to Pedro just rave about this. Pedro works with this guy in the offseason.
That's another reason why I'm really intrigued. Anybody that spent the entire offseason with Pedro Martinez with similar build, which means he can talk to him on his level, right? If you told me that he worked in the offseason with Randy Johnson, I'd be like, who the hell cares? The guy's 9 feet tall and a left-hander. But Pedro Martinez was built like Brian Bayo.
Yeah, well, he talked about that in an interview, and he's
actually, Bayo's bigger. He
said. I told him, look, I had to just intimidate people because of my size, so I just put it in their rib cage if they piss me off. He's like, but I told Bayo, you're bigger than me. He's like, I didn't hit weights. Did you ever see me in the gym? He's like, I didn't do that. I just was blessed with a thunderbolt attached to my shoulder, and I'd put it in their rib cage to brush them back. But Bayo doesn't have to do those kind of things. I think he would be a solid 2 or 3. I don't think he's the ace. I just don't think he's there yet. He's young.
He's 24 years old, man. Like, you think about, not everybody comes out of the womb and is a Spencer Strider, okay? Those guys
that would be great, but that's not the case. But is he still, in your opinion, is Brian Bayo a thrower at this stage or a pitcher at this stage?
We're going to find out this year because he spent the entire offseason with Pedro. I've read article after article after article about that.
This is the offseason he spent with Pedro.
I'm looking at the fact, I think one of the big things I think Pedro probably worked on him with is, for everything that I caught, was the trying to get a definitive strikeout pitch, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Right now, so going into this year, he had 157 innings last year. So I love the durability factor. So many of these young pitchers, you can't put 100 innings on them, they fall apart.
Mm-hmm.
132 strikeouts. So you're talking about, what is that, around 7.5, 8 strikeouts per 9. If he can tick that up to 9 strikeouts per inning, get his whip down. Right now, the whip is 1.34. You'd like it more around the 1.15 area if you're going to be. But I'm not saying he's going to be an ace in 2024. I'm saying he could be a guy that they are building towards an ace. And even if he's just the ace of the staff, I have a different definition for aces in Major League Baseball. If you ask MLB Network, there's 24 damn aces up and down the damn. No. To me, at any given time in Major League Baseball history, there's not even 10. There may be at the most 10, but there's usually 7, 8 who I would call aces. Guys you would throw out there and not even bat an eye and say, beat me. And sometimes you're lucky enough to have multiple on the same staff. But usually there are a lot of staffs that don't even have an ace. So I think he could be at least be the number one of the Red Sox staff. And obviously he's going in as the opening day starter. But I'm talking about be a true number one, meaning you're not there by default, meaning you're the obvious choice.
And the Red Sox feel that way. They just gave him, 6-year extension. So
yeah. And look, I think it's smart because you get him for most of his years. You're doing essentially what Anthopoulos does down in Atlanta. He did it with Strider, and he's basically saying, I'm going to use you for I'm going to overpay you a little bit because I could have gotten a discount, but I'm going to keep you a little longer. And by the time you get to the end of your contract, you may leave me. But you're going to leave me as a man in his early 30s, and I'll be okay with that because I got 6 years to go draft somebody and develop them.
Which
So I'm excited to watch Brian Bayo pitch this year.
I am. I'm excited, and he's going to be. Do I think he's a stopper yet? No. Do I think he's a pitcher yet? No. I think he's an excellent thrower, and I think he's
well. I love that. If there's one thing that I love, and I know he pitched sparingly in 2022, but his WHIP is, and that's a number I go with big time in baseball. And for folks who don't pay attention to that, it's walks plus hits divided by innings pitch. So it basically it lets you know how much traffic's on the base, right?
Yeah.
And a 1.15 is considered, that's a dude. Anything below that, that's a man.
Mm-hmm.
Anything above that, And once you start creeping around the 1.4 range, you're like, ugh. He was at 1.34 in his first full year in the Major League Baseball. It's pretty good considering the fact the year before that, he came in, he had 57 innings pitched, and he went 1.78. So he took a lot off of that. And maybe it's got something to do with the fact that I saw him live in Fenway Park against Atlanta last year. And I was impressed by him. He shut that offense down. If he can shut that offense down, he can shut any damn offense down.
Oh, he's got good stuff. And I think, anytime you're working with Pedro Martinez, it probably doesn't hurt. Let's be honest. And Pedro raves about this kid. I mean, he goes on and on and on and on about this kid. So I don't think it's Pedro, blowing smoke for the fans because, let's be honest, did Pedro ever do that? And
it could have it could have something to do with the fact that both from the Dominican Republic. But
yeah, it does. And
I still think
was the reason Bayo became a pitcher.
I'll tell you another pitcher that I'm interested for this year to watch him pitch. I think he's made great strides, and I would first of all, he's got a good spring, but I want to see what he does on the big stage. Cutter Crawford. Cutter Crawford's another guy.
Yeah.
That, look, I know he hasn't been automatic, and he's been kind of a swing man in his career, but I'd like to see him take the next step.
I think this year he's gonna there's not a lot of pressure because we know Boston's not going to go to the playoffs or anything. I think he's going to go out there. He's going to, he's going to have off nights like all pitchers do. But I think he's going out now that he's been in the bigs couple of seasons, whatever like that. He's been lit up. He knows just be a goldfish, move on. He's primed. I feel like he's primed to have a better season than Bayo, in my opinion.
All right, so getting back to the ownership thing about Breslow and what are his restraints. This is going to be my quick take on this thing. The Boston Red Sox ownership group also owns Liverpool, the soccer group. Do you understand who Liverpool is right now in English soccer?
Over there?
Yeah.
Pretty well from what I understand.
So they're the number one team in the English Premier League. The millions of dollars that means to them means that you've got an ownership group that your baseball team is actually being looked upon as second fiddle to them. Because they're going to make a boat ton of money with Liverpool no matter what. So I think that's a problem. And I think the fans, it won't happen this year, but I think the fans will eventually rise up and demand that team get sold.
The thing is, there's this whole boycott Fenway this season and everything. You got to understand something. John Henry is a billionaire with a B, a very high billionaire. If nobody shows up to Fenway, like 0.2% of his gross.
No, it's not going to affect him. I think fans are trying to send the point, and I get that part of it. If they really want to send the point, screw your gate receipts. You want to send your point? Don't buy any new merchandise. And if you're out of market or whatever, don't buy the MLB package.
Right, but
or if you're in market, which is much more to their purse because they get all of it.
Nesson,
don't buy the streaming service that gives you Nesson, right? That's how you hurt them financially. But fans aren't going to do that. They're going to say that.
I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. I'm a Red Sox. I
would never encourage anyone to do that because I look at it this way. If we're lucky, we get 75 really good baseball seasons in our lifetime to enjoy, right? Once we're old enough and young enough to know what the hell's going on, right?
Yeah.
I would never tell you hey, man, stick it to the man. And all summer long, you go ahead and you watch the NWSL and the WNBA, whatever crap ESPN's trying to get you to watch. No, I'm not going to tell you to do that.
No, me neither.
It stinks for a Red Sox fan because they now are basically understanding what it's like to be a Royals fan, right?
Yeah, City comes to mind. Yeah, that's right. What I was.
And I know there's a lot of fan base out there that are laughing and giggling at it, but
you think about it.
Simple fact of the matter is, it is better for baseball when teams like Boston and the Yankees and the Braves and the Dodgers
and the Cubs,
wherever else you want to put in there, the Cubs, when they are at least competitive. They don't have to be winning championships, but they're competitive so that their fan base is engaged. It's also better for baseball when the Philadelphia Phillies suck because we don't have to deal with their asinine fans. But that's a different story for a different podcast.
Not that you're bitter in any way.
Worst fan base on the planet. They have, let me tell you something.
No.
The Philadelphia fan base, they are now above as far as lowlifes. I would rather sit next to a Gator fan in Gainesville while Florida State's getting thumped by 4 touchdowns.
Remember those days, Dave?
Yeah. Philadelphia fan base, the worst.
They're not the worst.
No, they are the worst. It's not even close. I don't know who you think it may be. They are the worst. They are the worst.
Met fans, Yankee fans.
No. I'm telling you, because most Mets and Yankee fans, at least most of them, they're passionate, but they're not just total tools. Philadelphia is full of tools. It doesn't matter which sport. I'm not just picking on Phillies fans. I'm talking about Eagles, Sixers, whatever sport. Not 1,000% of them, but damn close, man. They take pride. They take pride in being jerk-offs. And I do like to remind them they've been playing baseball since 1883 and they've won 8 pennants.
How many of the Braves won, though?
Pennants?
Oh, pennants. I'm sorry. I was thinking.
We've won 22 pennants.
Yeah, I know.
We've won 16 world championships.
Yeah.
They've won 2. They've won 2 world championships. That's what makes it even worse. If it was an obnoxious fan base because they're good, you'd be like, all right, I get it. You're spoiled. You've got 8 pennants and 2 world championships since 1883. Make it make sense.
Philadelphia Phillies fans are worse than Laker fans.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Clearly.
Yes. It's their culture, the entire Philadelphia culture. They're lowlifes.
I don't know, man. I've been to both cities. I don't know.
I'm telling you, man. Every day there's a story about a Philly fan. Just absolutely they're garbage. They take pride in being garbage, human garbage.
I don't think that's true, man.
It is true.
What?
I don't expect you to know this. You're not around Philadelphia fans enough. But I'm telling you, I'm a little confused on. I'm a little confused on why you're digging your heels in and defending them. But
I'm a little curious about that myself. But I feel like
is your wife like a closet Eagles fan? And I don't know about it.
Wrong statement. I don't know. I mean,
I'm not trying to offend anyone in your world. Okay, if your wife's an Eagles fan or something, I'm not putting it on her. But I'm saying, as a collective, they are the worst fan base.
My wife doesn't know that my daughter's mascot is the Eagles. So no, it's not that. I know one Phillies fan, two Phillies fans, and they neither one could tell you who Bryce Harper is. But I mean, I've been there. I was stationed at Fort Meade. I used to go to Phillies games a lot. The fans were awesome, and like, I don't know. I just haven't had that experience. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'll give you a story from just a couple of days ago. Brian Snicker said that his family, talking about his wife, Snicker's in his 60s, right? He's got an older wife. She's not like some young kid. His wife and their grandkids will not come with him on road trips to Philadelphia because of the way that they are treated. And they don't necessarily know who the hell they are. But because they're not Philly fans, that's what you need to do. If Philly plays the Red Sox, you just need to go to a Philly game wearing some Red Sox gear, and then you'll come back and go,
oh. What I'm saying. I've done that.
I don't think you'll come back alive.
I'm not a ghost now, am I? Yeah. I don't know. We were jabbing each other and stuff, but it never got.
We've gotten off track, but they are infamously the worst fans in sports, not baseball, in sports.
Okay. I mean,
just the city of Philadelphia. It's not necessarily you're a Philadelphia Phillies fan who grew up in California, right? But if you are from that area, dude, I ran into a guy 2 weeks ago, Philly fan, and he was bragging to me how he was raising his kid to be a piece of crap. He didn't even know I was a Braves fan. He was bragging. He goes, "Oh yeah, man, that's what you got to do. That's how you show that you're a Philly fan." And finally, after I listened to a while, I said, "So you're telling me that you're teaching him to be classless?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "That's a part of being a Philly fan." I was like, "Yeah, dude, I don't know, man. I think you're taking him down a bad road."
I don't know.
Man, that's how you got to be. I'm like, "Yeah, all right."
All right. I mean, I've been wrong before. I didn't have that experience, but maybe.
I'm just telling you.
This is not a.
You can Google it, and there's you can't do this for any other team. You can Google it, and there's article after article after article that people have written on it.
And another thing.
I mean, who writes articles about you? You can't Google what are Gonzaga basketball fans like. People like, wait, what? No, but you say Philly sports fans. I get into Philly sports fans. Just the whole thing that comes down.
All right. I mean, maybe you're right. I don't know. Just wasn't my.
Threw batteries at Santa Claus. That's all. Enough said. Santa Claus.
Well, that guy shouldn't have put him on the naughty list, Man,
you really got me off track here, but I'm
You're right.
Don't defend the stupid Philadelphia fans.
Again, this isn't a hill I'm willing
to. Another thing.
Furthermore, nobody hurts Santa.
If I'd have known I was going to actually have to defend that statement, I would have came next time. There's going to be a PowerPoint presentation, okay?
Which I'm sure you have located somewhere.
No, but what do you think I'll be working on tonight?
Oh, I have. Yeah, you're not sleeping tonight. There's no way.
That went out the door.
They are.
I'm start jamming out of here. What I want to see what else. I think we pretty much covered just about anything. My big takeaway from the Red Sox. So if you look at the PECOTA standings, I looked at it this morning. They're sitting right at 79 wins, over under. If you go into the betting app, I gotta find that real quick. The bet, the over under on that, because your Pacoda lines are not always going to be right there in sync with everything else. Pacoda's usually higher or much lower compared to the betting lines. But what does everybody care about? They care about the actual betting lines, right? So let me see. Regular season wins, the Boston Red Sox. I know what it was a few weeks ago. It was 79.5. Let me see what it is today. Ooh, it's down to 77.5. Which means money's been coming in on people banging the under. But I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt. Over under 77.5. Are you taking the over? Or are you taking the under?
Okay. I have two answers.
Here we go.
82 and 80, unless we unload at the trade deadline. Then I have 78, 84.
That's a part of this, though.
I'm still laughing about the Philadelphia. I'm sorry, man. I still haven't recovered.
You got two answers. I've got the normal answer, which means if they play really well and they play up to their expectation, they could probably carry the 78 wins. Then I got the Philly answer. Red Sox suck. Boston sucks. Your mama sucks. Santa sucks.
Who hates Santa?
Philadelphia.
This is completely new information. You have to.
You didn't know they're infamous for booing and throwing batteries at Santa? It's happened a few times. The first time was like 25, 30 years ago, but it's happened a few times.
I've never heard that. It's educational. Hanging
They're
out with
a-holes, man. There's no other word for saying. Like I don't know how to say this. Considering this is going to go out on radio, I can't tell you what I really think. But they are nothing but a-holes. Obviously, not all of them. There's no constant in any sports fan base. You can say every single fan of a sport. No, there's going to be some classy ones, and you know what? A classy Philadelphia fan stands out to me more than any other one. When we do our live games, we always get the Philly fans that come in and start talking smack, and they get diarrhea of the mouth. They don't even know what the hell they're saying, but they're saying it right. The few times that we've had Philly fans come in, whether they won or lost, and basically said good game type of stuff, but you're usually more eloquent than that. Those have stuck out to me, even though we get it for all the fan bases. We do Red Sox games. Red Sox fans come into Braves Country Radio, and a lot of them have good things to say. We get Mets fans. A lot of them have good things to say. But the ones that I remember the most are the good things said by the Philly fans, because most of them, I mean, dude, I cringe. When I saw the schedule and go, are you kidding me? I got to start my season off calling Philly Braves. And it's bad enough they've knocked us out of the playoffs the last 2 years, but then they're jerk-offs on top of it. The only good thing that's come out of it is that they haven't won one during that time period. There's nothing better than it was shortly after the season. We were doing a show and some Philly fan came in talking smack. I said, "Hey, Arizona says hi." Hi-oh. But they never have quick colloquialisms that are funny and make you stop. They're just mean and ugly.
Well, I really hit a nerve today. God.
Let me tell you a story about the Philly fans. They are trash. Well, I can confidently say we'll never have Phillies country radio on this channel.
Well, I actually almost do pay-per-view to see that.
We would have
higher ratings than you ever would with me.
we would have Gator country radio on here before we ever would have Phillies country. I would go into depth talking about the University of Florida swim team before we ever go in and talk about Philly.
They are Olympians and they've earned it. But I definitely think if you got a Phillies show and you two went at it the entire time. Oh, that's good TV, man. I'm telling you, you are missing. I think you're onto something here, buddy.
The only Philly guy that we've ever had come on our station, because he does Philly play-by-play as well on his YouTube channel. He's actually one of the few. He can't help it. He's still a Philly fan, so he'll take those slight jabs, but he's not like a full-blown jackass, right? Like he's not like the typical Philly fan where you're like, dude, man, abortion would have been a good thing for your corner.
Oh my God.
He's actually a pretty good guy. So I could never get him ramped up because he's the type of guy that would just.
Oh my God.
I'm telling you, you think I'm joking. I ain't joking.
I'm not sure you are.
Philly's trash.
Wow.
I'm telling you, man.
I'm glad that we had this conversation when you were sober.
I won't be later, by God, after thinking about the Philly fans.
I never conversation with you half in the bag.
Okay, real quick. American League. Who wins the East?
Baltimore.
I still have the Yankees. But Garrett Cole's got to come back by June. If he screws around and doesn't come back till August, then
Aaron Judge isn't going to play a third of the season. And Giancarlo Stanton's made of glass. Their pitching staff is good. Don't get me wrong.
I think that combination of Judge and Soto is going to be pretty nasty. And Baltimore, I'm not convinced Baltimore's pitching is going to be there. But I definitely think it's between Baltimore and the Yankees. That's a given.
It's definitely
Tampa Bay. This isn't one of those years they're going to figure it out. They've got too many. They'll probably, I think there's 78 wins.
They won games last year. And they've improved in the offseason.
Well, I get that part of it, but I also believe that the rest of the division, Baltimore winning all those games wasn't just Baltimore being good. Yankees were terrible. Red Sox were terrible. And Toronto was blah. I feel like they're going to come down a little bit to earth.
Are they going to win 101 games? No, I'm not saying that. But they're better than.
I think it's going to take high 90s to win that division, and that's why I'm rolling with the Yankees.
It's going to take 95.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'm not going to lie to you. I'd much rather see Baltimore win. It'd be more fun.
That's what you're saying. You think the Yankees are winning more than 95 games this year?
I think they're going to win enough games to win that division, yes.
You just said in the high 90s. You think the Yankees are good enough to win in the high 90s in that division?
It's not a great division. They're over under right now on Pacoda is sitting at 93.5. I think they can get over that.
95 games in that division, they suck.
I think they can win 95 plus.
Go out and beat them.
I don't think Baltimore's going to get to the 100 plateau. I think they had a lot of things go in their favor, and the fact that their bullpen, they didn't look. Yeah, they went out and got Corbin Burns. They've got a lot of questions with that pitching, and it's going to be a sophomore slump. But anyways, we got to move on. Minnesota, Cleveland, Detroit, AL Central. Who you got?
Minnesota. By default. Because
they should. But I'll tell you a bet that I did take. And it was because of the odds. It was plus 375. I took Detroit to win the division. Last year at plus 350, I took Minnesota to win the division, and everyone gave me that same look that you're giving me. Guess who was right and guess who was wrong? Detroit is going to make moves. Detroit is on the there is a
about baseball.
Detroit is a good up-and-coming young team. Minnesota did nothing in the offseason, so they're going to come back to the pack. And Cleveland, I'm sorry, but Cleveland's not it. Who you got in the West? AL West.
I think it's Seattle's year.
I'm going to give you the same look. Seattle?
Yeah,
Give me the Astros. Astros are going to cruise to another division title.
Hard to bet against the Astros. I'll give you that. I don't think Texas is going to. They're not going to repeat, but
no.
I think that Seattle's
Texas is going to come out of the gate slow anyway, so I don't even know if they'll make the playoffs because they got too many guys on the IL and the pitching staff. Now, they have added a couple, and I believe in Bruce Bochy's ability to manage, no doubt. But, man, that's going to be a tough ask when you don't have Scherzer, who sucks anyways when he is healthy. DeGrom won't be back this year. If he is, it's going to be like July or August. Jordan Montgomery, it doesn't look like they're bringing him back because they signed Michael Lorenzen the other day. I mean, that's the definition of we just plan on sucking.
Yeah, I mean, we could have a whole show on where's Montgomery going to end up on, but I know we don't have time.
No, we don't have time. Plus, by the time this drops, he'll probably sign with somebody. And who do you got in the wild cards? We got to make it fast.
Yankees, Astros, and
Denver Broncos.
Yeah, it's like
or the New England Patriots.
Probably Cleveland. I'll say Cleveland. I don't care. I'll
take Tampa Bay. I mean, sorry, not Tampa Bay. Baltimore. I'll take Baltimore. I will take.
No, I'm sorry, not Cleveland. I meant the Blue Jays. Sorry.
I'll take Baltimore as a wild card. I'll take Texas as a wild card.
Nah.
And you know what? Just because I think the rest of the divisions will beat each other up. Give me Minnesota as a wild card. Give them to me as a wild card.
Okay. I mean, I said Blue Jays, so I can't really point a finger because we know what the Blue Jays do.
And I just until the Blue Jays prove me wrong, I'm not betting on them ever again. They suck. They're overrated. They're overinflated. They have all these household video game names, but they never do anything.
Right. It's kind of a
who's in the World Series? Who wins it?
Football for me with the Blue Jays.
Who's in the World Series? Who wins it?
Who wins it?
Who's in the World Series? Who wins it?
I think the NLCS is going to be the Braves and the Dodgers. I think the Dodgers will probably win in 7, and then who wins it all? Probably Houston.
Give me the Braves to beat. I mean, I'd take the Braves beating anybody, but I'd really like to beat the Yankees, man. Give me the Braves beating the Yankees. Exercise some demons from the 1990s. That would be great theater. That would be great theater. Go in there and sweep their ass. What's your walk-off we got to jam?
Walk-off. Let's make it simple. Baseball's back. It's going to be a long season for us, but it's still baseball. It's still Major League Baseball, and let's go Sox. Let's prove everybody wrong.
My walk-off is if you're a Philly fan and we offended you, screw you anyways. You're in the wrong channel. Get the hell out of here. I hate Philadelphia. I'll never not hate Philadelphia. Screw the Phillies. And we'll see you next time.
What are you saying exactly?